Here we go. Oh, I will see if I can pull this off. The light's not blinking. Microphone's working. I'm a little sweaty and sawdusty, but that's all right. I have to finish the rest of the shop, or keep going on the shop. I tore off, I don't know how many square feet of board, and I planed it all. And then I have a huge plywood table I made in my shop to do the staining on, and I filled it up once. Got the stain on, so I got to wait 2 hours till I can move that wood, stain the rest, and then put it back on. So we got 2 hours. And you know what I listen to? I throw these on when I'm traveling, or sometimes when I'm fishing by myself or working. And I just listened recently to a guest on Tucker Carlson just now. I haven't listened to any for a while. I don't care how you feel about Tucker Carlson. That shouldn't have anything to do with this. But I didn't quite listen to all of it yet, but he interviewed a man named Dave Cullum. You gotta listen to this. Holy shit. I mean, he shares a lot, but he shares a lot. And he's got the receipts. He's a professor of organic chemistry at Cornell University, where he earned a BS in biology and later returned after completing his PhD in chemistry at Columbia, former department chair and 20-year associate editor of the Journal of Organic Chemistry. Anyway, yeah, he used to consult for Pfizer and a bunch of other sleazy companies. Anyway, he's a truth teller. He's got a lot to share, and you might want to have a listen, maybe. No, fix that lighting there. Oh, yay. It's working. So here we go. Now, earlier, our dear friend Sherry Stevens sent us the photographs of those bones laid out and the fresh liver left for her, which to me is very, very bizarre. I don't think it's the gifting part, but the part where the liver wasn't touched by anything. And let me tell you what, being a lifelong hunter and professional hunter, I don't know how many game animals I've harvested myself or been in on, and probably 99.9% of the time when you harvest any game animal, almost by the time you walk up to it, the birds are squawking. They can see it. They know it's going down. There's going to be a major feast going on. And the second you walk away from that site, the very first thing that goes is the organs out of the gut pile if they're left there. The very first thing is the easiest, most nutrition-filled items, and they get gobbled up instantly. So just the fact that a liver and no carcass was left right there is absolutely just amazing. That's amazing. And then the bones laid out. She also shared this photo of the bones laid out. And that's just as frickin' amazing and weird if it wasn't a human. And if it was a human, why would a human do that? But anyway, just so you know, she lives in grizzly and coyote and wolf country. And wolves grind up and eat the entire carcasses, skeleton included. They'll leave the teeth. They'll leave the pedestals where the moose antlers attached to the forehead. But that's about it. Toes, optional. Sometimes they poop the toes out. Sometimes they don't eat them. But they eat the whole skeletal remains. So it's amazing. Just the fact those bones were laying there, untouched, is amazing. Man, I got the back patio door open, screwed up. Now there's a couple big flies buzzing around. Background sound that drives me bonkers, not you guys. Now, let's get some voices heard. All right. Listen to this. Death grip on my 300 Win Mag. Hey, Steve. First off, I want to say thanks for what you do. It's easy to tell you're the real deal. My name is David Kirkland, and you can use my name like you want to give a shit what people think. Right on, brother. Let me double check the mute button. Haven't hit it. It's still going good. Got sawdust in my nose. I know what I've seen. I'm from western North Carolina in the Blue Ridge Mountains. I'm a deer hunter, and that's where I had my encounter with the big guy on the afternoon of December 3rd, 2019. I was in my stand overlooking a creek bottom that joined a huge pine thicket. About 20 minutes before dark, I had 3 deer run out of the thicket through the bottom and up the ridge past me. And when I say running, I mean they were running for their lives. I could tell they weren't running from a rutting buck, but I got ready anyway. And about 15 minutes later, I hadn't seen anything else. It was pretty dark by then. And I spotted something in the edge of the pines, and it was big. I picked on my .300 Winchester mag and looked through my Leopold V x3 scope, but couldn't see anything. I would lower the gun and see movement again. And I was thinking, what the hell, man? I know I'm looking at the right spot. It was pretty dark by now, so I started packing everything up. I was about 35 feet high in a poplar tree, in a climbing stand, so it took about 5 minutes to get to the ground. Once I got to the ground, it was black in the woods. I started taking my stand off the tree, and that's when I heard a scream. The loudest thing I've ever heard in my 32 years. This thing started out high and ended up as a low growling sound. I would say it lasted maybe 4 to 6 seconds. I hit the ground. I would say it was 80 to 100 yards from me. My rifle was leaning on a tree maybe 5 yards from me, so I grabbed it and cut out my light. I could hear it walking on 2 legs in the creek bottom. It was super thick down there, and a man could not walk through it in the dark without a light. It sounded like he was coming up the ridge toward me, and I had to do something. I ripped around into a big oak tree close to me, and when I did, it took off. It ran back through the creek bottom and into the pines like its ass is on fire. It was 200 yards from my stand to the pines, and it made it through that thick stuff at 8 to 10 seconds. It was breaking brush and limbs like toothpicks. I got my stand and got the hell out. 2 days later, I took a friend back in there with me to look at the limbs. It broke while running. And Steve, it was unbelievable. White oak limbs, 3-inch thick, were broken off 6 feet high off the ground. Mountain laurel bushes were mowed down, and it was a sight to see, man. So that's what I saw. Hope you can use it on your channel, brother. Love what you're doing, my friend, and I hope all is well up your way. Good luck this fall. David Kirkland. Whoo-wee. Not the first time we read that experience. Or experience similar, I mean. It's funny how many times I've asked people if they would go back or if they went back to see the carnage. And maybe to videotape it, because I haven't seen that myself. And we've heard of many people. One time I saw a video of an older man hunter, and he showed all the trees broken off. It was crazy. A lot of people hear them taking off, and it sounds like a bulldozer is trimming everything up as it goes through. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see photo or video of that, just out of curiosity, not for proof. I believe it. I just like to see it firsthand. Mountain man in a fursuit, question mark, the F. I've never talked to a single soul about this, and ask for your kindness to keep my identity secret, as I have a lot to lose. I live in Mendon, Utah, born and raised in Cache Valley. I grew up rock climbing here. I'm actually shaking just revisiting this memory. I was 19, I'm 42 now, and I decided to go check out a new crag that all the local climbers are raving about. It was called Hamburger Hill. I go up solo with everyone knowing where I'm going, also when I will be back. The plan? Get the roots cleaned up and choss removed that I overheard a few climbers complaining about. Basically, I was being a help. Maybe a 6-hour hike to the wall that was sunk deep into an inverted V-shaped dark ravine. From the road looking up, it's almost as if it could swallow you whole. Stunning to say the least. There's not much of a trail, being as the crag was pretty new and all, and I ended up bushwhacking most of the way. Crisscrossing through pine, then aspen, then traversing big, long, unforgivable rock slides. It was a total mess, bud. After making the ascent to the wall, I noticed that I had my work cut out for me. Lots and lots of cleaning needed to be done. I decided alone was not the best idea. I needed help. My plan was to camp out for 2 days, do what I can, some bouldering maybe, and come back at a later date with help. Night 1. I was relaxing in my tent, reading through the climbing book at that time, daydreaming about the first ascents on sites and so on. And from the left side of my tent, I hear a rock. Or a branch, I'm not sure. But the projectile clipped a couple of branches on the way to my tent and absolutely hit dead center of the side of my dinky tent. I'll never forget how it hit dead center. I thought of nothing but fear, and I yelled, "Get out of here! Go on!" Into the dark with my head stuck just inside my tent, afraid to push it out of the slightly frayed and open zipper. Then another, and another. It was the accuracy. God, it was flawless. The exact same spot as the last. I could not hold it together, questions running at mock speed through my head, and I started crying. Then there was silence. Every minute felt like hours, and I did not sleep until daybreak. 4 hours total. Day 1, I found 3 odd-shaped rocks at the bottom of the tent on the side that was hit. When I say odd, I mean that they were not from the rock slides I'd previously come up. Impossible. They were very round. River rocks. I was guessing to myself, but how did they get way up here? And all about the exact same size as well, and I was a wreck. I remember thinking, big fire tonight. And nothing happened all day except this eerie feeling that someone's watching me while I build a huge mountain of firewood, as if someone's staring me down. God, I know this may not make sense, but I could feel eyes. Night 2. Big fire built, darkness coming. I heard a knock to my right like a baseball bat smacking a tree trunk or something. Then again, but different location this time. I looked everywhere I could before the darkness swallowed the landscape. I stood by my dinky tent scanning over the steep terrain, and I saw nothing. I tried to rationalize the knocks, but that got me nowhere. I was frantic thinking of the possibilities, then, before I knew, darkness. This is tough here, but I'll try my best to describe what I heard that night. Ay-ya-ya-wah. Whistle. I know what I heard. It was a groaning effing whistle. The tone was heavy, powerful, desperate, deep, invigorating, hellish, and nothing I've ever heard before, ever. I said, F the fire, get in the tent, move now, move, go, go. As I yelled desperately to my paralyzed body to myself, But at last I could not move. I could not move, and I didn't know why. And I was crying without crying, if that makes sense. Tears and blank-faced. Until I was knocked out of my fear by stupor with the whiz of a rock flying right by my right ear, almost as forcing me to get up and run. I jumped to my tent, drowning in silent tears, frozen. I stare at the fire through my tent, watching the yellow turn lighter shades, acting as an hourglass to my demise, until ultimately it was burnt out. I could not feed the fire from fear. The glow of coals remained as the sounds that night drove me mad. I could never explain. God, it sounded painful to me, or a lost call of some sort. I felt a sadness I cannot explain. I was pelted a lot through the night with rocks and groaning at which seemed to come from the underbelly of a beast until finally day hit. F this, I'm gone. Daylight hits, I jump up, pack like hell, nothing pretty. It's just a get out of there thing. I'm bear hugging most of my gear in front of me until I hit the rock slides again and dropped most everything. My gear tumbled except my tent, which did not go far. I gather up my things as best I can, and as I descend down, my shins are cut up and bleeding through my pants. I stop to assess the wounds, and at one moment I decide to turn around. One last look, I tell myself, and as I look up, the dark inverted V-shaped ravine, cloaked in white and green and browns and black, I make out a man wearing a full-on fur suit. Like those bear suits mountain men wore way back then. No teeth, though. Could not make out a headpiece at all, but was covered head to toe in fur. Baffled, I thought to myself, some dude willingly just effing put me through hell? I lost it, man. I thought, that MFer, F you, I yelled at him, you piece of shit. I went on and on. Man, the things I said, the man never moved. 10 minutes. I waited nothing. I turned around, instantly relieved, but still going to hike out of here to call for a ride. And this whole time it was a mountain man? I told myself, but why the big coat? I thought it's midsummer. I hiked 8 to 10 hours-ish down and out of Logan Canyon to a phone to call for a ride from my mom. I never said a word to her, or anyone for that matter, until this email. And all these years later, I know what I saw back then. 10,000% Bigfoot, no question in my mind. What made up my mind was when I went up there 5 years later, and I'll explain. My friends invited me for the 5-day reunion hike and climb up at Hamburger Hill. A fun get-together, they said. And I told them I'd only go up there... I told them I would only go up there for the first day and come back down. Basically, yes, but I won't sleep overnight. I also asked them to reconsider location, but was denied. And as we hike up the dark valley, everyone's asking why I won't spend the night. I lied my ass off from fear of judgment from my old friends. Embarrassed as I was, we ascend the dark inverted V. I am consumed with fear. I should have stayed at home, I thought. And eventually the trail was leading us right next to the tree that mountain man was standing halfway or so behind. And I'm eyeing this tree hard as I did not want to lose its location. Every step I get closer and closer, I delve into the dark depths of anxiety. Finally, there it is. It's big, way too big, I thought. I thought I lost the tree because his mass dwarfed the one he stood behind. This cannot be it. I remember a black spot on the trunk, and I quickly look at the base of the tree. This is the tree. I fake a rest break to my friends and encourage them to go ahead, and I'll catch up. And how the F? Speechless, I think to myself. 9 feet, give a little, take a little. I was completely lost up until many years later when I heard similar noises in other videos, and until I saw these, I had no real answers for this. It ticked every box for me. I know now it's face-to-face with the Sasquatch, though hard to write. This felt good to get off my chest. I quit rock climbing. I was featured in magazines and highly ranked. I climbed with Boone Speed, Chris Sharma, and Troy McMurray, to name a few. Look them up for fun if you want. Sasquatch changed my life forever. I never climbed that day with my friends, or after my altercation for that matter. I sold my climbing gear, and I've lived with depression and anxiety issues up to this very day. I'm now an archer. For all my fellow stick flingers out there, it's a Matthews TR times 3/8, baby. Slowly I'm working on getting the strength to get into the woods to hunt, and it is not easy to share these secrets of mine, so thank you for this platform and for the inspiration to get back out into the woods. Thank you for keeping my identity private, and especially reading my story. Okay, Matt, I hope you've come along since then in a positive direction. I hope you are back in the woods, and if you're still here, maybe give me an update, because I'm curious to know. Hopefully everybody gets it by now, or heard me share. One of my biggest motivations to do this, not only people try to stop me, once somebody tries to stop me from doing anything, that's all there is to it, I'm going to do it. But is helping people who are passionate about the real world the same as I am get back out there, because I picture losing it. If I lost the ability to go out there, what would I do? I'd perish. I would just perish. I'd probably just jump, you know? That'd be such a loss. I'd be very, very, very upset. So I'm really upset that like-minded people are losing that slice of life. It's absolutely not fair. It's frustrating. It angers me to the core that we aren't taught these truths, right? So better prepare our minds just in case that 1 in a million happens, right? I mean, the majority of us aren't even going to see a grizzly bear, let alone have one charge you, but a lot of people know what to do because of the knowledge shared, right? It's only fair. Anyway, I won't babble on that. You know my stance on that shit. YouTube comment on Mindspeak. Was told some are cut off. This is from M. Lewis again, doing our sleuthing on our channel. YouTube comment under the True Talk, episode 14, the Arizona 4, Chris Kramer of August 18, 2025, at Eve Davis 423. I did a Mindspeak question and asked about the bad forest people, especially the skunk ape type. The skunk apes type. I didn't know the skunk apes were bad. I don't know. Honest question. I was told these bad ones are cut off from the rest. As far as Mindspeak, and it was explained. Once one knows, we all know, but not the ones cut off. They know they're cut off and they're angry. That's creepy. I've heard that before. I started seeing tiny twinkle lights in my room after connecting with how to hunt. I wonder if you guys feel like these beings know when you're talking about them. If so, it's not so far-fetched that they would have shared knowledge. Just saying, filling out my puzzle pieces. Don't expect anyone to hop on my bandwagon. All right, there you go. Shared. I know there's more than a few people. I don't know them. I don't know if they are or not. I don't know. That are sharing that they're in communication with these people, and I've heard that same theme. More than a few times, just saying. Heard the theme. That screenshot thing. I have a handful of screenshots I gotta clean up out of my phone here. So much shit on my phone. Hold on a minute. What do we got? Where'd they go? Or did I already? I think I read them and I deleted them this morning. So that means I gotta go into my garbage can, right? Stupid phones, come on. Why do they keep changing that app? It used to be real simple. Recently deleted. Then it needs you to sign in to see you're deleted. I guess that's for people that got nasty shit, huh? That's not me. Uh-oh. Hold on to me, guys. Just hang with me. We're at the same coffee table here. Nothing's rehearsed, right? Recently deleted. Go back in there. All right. Screenshot. Sent to me from the YouTube channel. From Tina Francis 7712. Holy crap, I never thought I would be one to say anything like this. Around 1975, third grade, South Hill, Spokane, Washington, was where my first encounter was as well. I lived near and went to Adams Elementary, close enough that we walked to school. Might be a few edits to this comment. Sherry and I have yet more in common. Mine was a night visual. Something woke me and I saw it cross the field where they were clearing trees to build a house. I too had shitty stuff happening in my life until I was in my teens and prayed over. I'd wake in the middle of the night, couldn't move, talk, could hardly breathe. Felt like something was sitting on my chest. I've always felt it wasn't the Sabe, but hearing someone else's story about the same thing happens to them, same area, same time frame. Wow. Maybe something more is going on up there on the South Hill. Wow is right. So that's in relation to yesterday's conversation with Sherry and what she went through. Same zone. Another screenshot from Big 1992 Foot. Thank you, Chris and Steve. Chris, I had the experience of Mind Talk in 1996 when I had encounters with a Sabe family. I saw two juveniles playing on a beaver house. Then during the night, I was on a different plane with these juveniles, and we were playing tag in this tall grass that has these tunnels made in the grass. In the morning, my uncle told my uncles, did you guys hear those kids playing last night? I walked down to a bridge, and that is where the Mindspeak began, and it was a female. I believe it was the one I saw the day before, walking on all fours. At first I thought it was a giant grizzly, but the legs were too long. Then I thought it was a donkey, and then I thought it was a horse. But when it turned its head and looked at me, I saw it was a massive sabe. Excuse me, I got sawdust everywhere. Wow. Excuse me. Another screenshot from the YouTube channel. JW, brother, you're not crazy, nor are you the only one to hear or see that shit. I was transferred from Fort Sill, Oklahoma to Fort Lewis, Washington in August 1974 for the formation and activation of the 275th Airborne Infantry Ranger Regiment, October 74. During my 10 years of being home-based out of Fort Lewis, Washington, I had 3 close encounters, and I think 8 to 10 times when we, my team squad and I, encountered unknown SIT reps. Take care, Doc, our LTW always. All right, Doc, you got to email us, man. Email us what you saw. If you get the chance, email us, or even if you want to come and talk to me on here instead of emailing, you can do that too. Share my story at howtohunt.com, if you would. We want to hear from you, man. Everything you know, right? If you would. If not, that's okay too. You got to ask. Veronica St. Clair. In 1982, I was stationed at Fort Lewis. Around July or August, my platoon went on an overnight patrol. And on the way back to our company, I saw an 11 or 12 foot tall sabe walking past a radio tower. After picking my jaw up off the ground, I watched it walk behind the tower and seemingly disappeared down into the ground. I never said a word to anyone. Go figure, huh? But now I have a lifetime of incidents, and I'm willing to tell my story. Also, I don't care what anyone thinks. I know what I heard and saw, period. Wow. Veronica, share my story, howtohunt.com. Email me. Come on here with me. Have a conversation with me here. I think that'd be great. All right, now we got those screenshots taken care of so I can delete them. Oh, they're right there, deleted. All right, gotcha. Hold on a minute here. Moving along, back to the inbox. This next one is titled, My Experience. Dear Steve, my name is John Marshall. I'm from Logan, Utah. Thank you for all you do with getting true information out on these beings. You're very welcome. It's too easy, and it's impossible without you. I've been a believer since I was 12 years old. I've had experiences off and on for years, and I'm now 43 years old. And one of the incidents that I constantly think about is an encounter I had at Big Sandy Lake in the Wind Rivers Mountain Range in Wyoming on a backpacking trip. I was the only person camping at the lake. Excuse me. A few backpackers came through daily to go rock climb the Cirque of the Towers. Cirque of the Towers, a few hours up the trail and over a few mountain passes. The first few days, nothing happened. I fished, hiked around, swam, read, drew the scenery, and enjoyed the peace of the area. But my last night there, things happened. I was cooking my dinner at the edge of the lake, and across the lake was a rock slide area with trees dispersed in and around it. I kept hearing rocks clapping together. I just thought it was rocks rolling. I finished eating, went back to camp, started cleaning up, then pre-packing to get an early start on my hike out. I got my tent at about 10 and fell asleep listening to the woods, insects, the breeze, and some distant wolf howls. It was great. At 2 a.m., I woke up from a dead sleep and laid there listening, and I noticed that everything was silent, no sounds from the woods. I was laying on my back, and as my eyes adjusted to the darkness, the slanted tent wall above me was pushed in. I could see the outline of the fingertips. Again, the fingertips. It was not a paw. The spread from the thumb to the pinky tip was huge. I would compare it to Shaq's hand. I coughed a little and pulled away from the tent, and it just stood there. I could hear it breathing. I said, "I know you're there." He shuffled his feet, turned, and heavily but slowly walked away. The sounds of the forest slowly came back to life, and I got out of my tent and looked at the area. it walked away towards. I saw nothing. I did feel it was still close. I went back to bed and tried to fall back asleep, and it was a restless night after that. I was not scared. I was excited it happened. No shit, crazy. I hiked out with nothing else happening. Thanks again, John. And there you go. Short and sweet and to the point. Excited, not scared. Lucky. Lucky. What's this? Short one. I forget. Do I need to read this? Olympic, late 60s. Hitchhiking, maybe 1969, west of 101 highway. A native woman and her husband picked us up. It was getting dark, and she offered to take us to her place and give us some dinner. And a place to crash for the night. How kind is that? Over dinner, she mentioned that she was very familiar with the Bigfoot. I wonder how that topic came up. She said they called them the squirrel people because of their chatter. They would come and watch us bathe in the river from behind the bushes, she said, and she was not afraid of them. They were just a part of nature. P.S. I'm going to send you one more, although it's not about Bigfoot, but a different being. I just don't know where to send it. I was ridiculed, but I don't care. Also late 60s. All right, well, you send it right to exactly where you sent this, right? That's where you send it. You already did it once. Do it again. You can do it. You can do it. Kind people, huh? It's getting dark. We better take you home and feed you and give you a place to sleep, said not too many people today. Griffin, be quiet. He's wanting me to be doorman, but I'm not going to do it. It's nonstop. Like, I'm not kidding you. It's every frickin' 15 minutes. In, out, in, out, in, out. He's getting old. I don't think he knows what he's doing. Now, I believe this really happened. It's the title of this email. This happened in the 80s near where I live in West Virginia. I think it's a true story. We have a lot of activity around here, and this is the most prominent incident. Newspaper article attached. Thanks, I like your YouTube videos. I'm not sure they exist 100%, but I had an incident near the time of this newspaper. Incident, not 10 miles from where this happened, and I saw things that night that I can't rationally explain without this type of creature being part of the explanation. Thanks, Rick. Please don't use my name. I don't want any attention from this. Okay, well, I'm sure there's a million Ricks out there, so I won't share your last name. Now, I read this from the screen of my laptop. Now, give me a second. Let me line this sucker up again. Okay, so I got it on the screen. I took a photo of it with my phone, just so you guys know. This is what I'm reading this from, okay? It's an old newspaper article, screenshots, 4 pages. That's what I'm going to have to deal with in case I get a little goofy with it, all right? I already read it once this morning. Oh, it's sawdust all over me. All right, where'd it go? Now I'm going to zoom in on it a little more. Make this full screen and hope it's recording on the program. This is the West Virginia Advocate, dedicated to serving the Eastern Panhandle. Volume 5, Issue 11. 1986. Cacapon Bridge, West Virginia, November 1986. Newsstand price, 40 cents. This is titled, Attacked by 2 Bigfoot Monsters on Dillon's Mountain, Hunters Claim. All right. Here we go. This is a creepier than shit account. Ready? Cacapon Bridge. I'm sure I'm probably pronouncing it the wrong way. C-A-C-A-P-O-N. Cacapon Bridge, West Virginia. 2 hunters claim that they were attacked October 25th by 2 Bigfoot on Dillon's Mountain near this rural community. The father and son team, both residents of the Maryland District of Columbia area, declined to be identified. Both said they are businessmen, afraid their reputations would be disparaged. It was a nightmare It was the most frightening experience I've ever had, the father said. It was crazy, and people would probably say we're crazy. That never happened. People can think what they like, the son said. Neither of us is crazy, and both of us know what we saw and what we went through. Advised that the advocate was skeptical of their claim, the father, who appeared to be in his late 50s, displayed a large tear in the right shoulder of a hunting coat. He said the rip occurred when he escaped from the grip of one of the Bigfoot. His son, who appeared in his early 30s, displayed 8 strands of hair he claimed came from one of the Bigfoot. He said he retrieved the hair from the underbrush snag at the site of the alleged encounter. And this reporter observed that the strands, of course, black hair, varying from about 1 to 2 inches long, resembled hair from a horse's tail or mane. The hunter said they were hunting wild turkeys when the alleged attack occurred. When asked to indicate on USCNG topographical map where the alleged incident occurred, the hunters pointed to a location at the top of the southeast side of Dillon's Mountain, about 3 miles southwest of downtown Cacapon Bridge, about 1,500 feet northeast from where one power line crosses the mountain, and about 5,000 feet southwest from where another power line crosses. Let me make this a little bigger if I can. Oh yeah, it's better. Hold on. Nope. Why can't I slide that to the side? Sorry, guys. Hold on a minute here. According to the hunters, they arrived at the location about daybreak, October 25th. After selecting a large oak tree, the father sat at his base with his back against the southeast side of the trunk of the tree. His son sat on the opposite side, facing northwestward. They said they took turns operating slate and wood turkey collars in hopes that one or more turkeys would be attracted to the location. Both were armed with pump-action 12-gauge shotguns. It was overcast, drizzling rain, and foggy, the father said. We could only see about 50 to 75 feet away through the fog in the woods. After we'd been there for about an hour, we heard movement out in front of my son, but beyond where we could see. We thought it was a flock of turkeys, his son said, but then something strange happened. It sounded as though a turkey flock had split up, and part of the flock was circling to our left and part were circling to the right. Then I heard some branches break, the father said. From those sounds, I knew it couldn't be turkeys. I became worried the 2 hunters had heard our turkey calls and were stalking us. After listening to the sounds for about a minute more, I was certain it was 2 hunters. To let them know we weren't turkeys, I said, "Hello!" and the sound stopped. We silently remained at a location for about 5 more minutes. During that time, we heard faint sounds that sounded closer and kept moving around us in a circle, the hunter said. I decided it was 2 deer. I wanted to see them, the son said, so I got up and started walking softly and slowly toward where I'd heard the last sounds off to my left. I walked about 40 feet from the tree, and suddenly, through the fog, I saw in the woods what looked like a big black gorilla, about 8 feet tall. It was off to my right and about 15 feet away. Its legs were behind a bush that was in front of it. I didn't know what the hell it was, but it scared me so bad I couldn't move. I even forgot I had a gun in my hands, the son said. The thing and I stared at each other for a couple of moments, and then all of a sudden it growled like a gorilla and lunged at me. I turned and ran back towards the tree, the hunter said. The father said he had remained at the tree, watched his son stalk forward, saw him stop, stare to his right, and then spin and run back toward the tree. I heard a growl and something big running after him, the father said, and I thought a bear was after him. I jumped up and threw my shotgun up, and I aimed at the sounds, and suddenly I saw this thing running after him, about 20 feet behind him. It looked like a giant man dressed up in a gorilla suit. I was too surprised to pull the trigger. Besides that, I didn't know if the thing was human. Hold on, I gotta scroll up here. His son said he dropped his gun during the terrified run. I saw my dad raise his gun and then lower it. Then he began waving his arms and shouting. When I got to him, I spun around and saw that thing had stopped about 15 feet away, the son said. We both yelled and screamed and flopped our arms. The thing started moving back and circling to our left, and all of a sudden my dad screamed like he had been stabbed. I looked, and there was another of the things behind him, and it had a hold of his shoulder. The hunter said he was yelling and trying to jerk loose. I grabbed a hold of him and pulled him loose from the thing, and his father said the damn thing had tits like an old woman. I'm reading the way it's typed in the newspaper. It was as big as... Sorry, one more time. His father said the damn thing had tits like an old woman. It was as big as the other one, but this one had tits. It was covered with black hair, but the tits didn't have much hair on them. They looked like big hound dog ears. He said he dropped his gun while struggling to free himself, what he claims was a female Bigfoot. The hunter said they ran about 15 to 20 feet, but the male Bigfoot ran to its left and blocked their course. Said they found themselves between the two creatures that remained about 15 feet away, while circling and maneuvering to keep the men trapped between them. Holy shit, would that suck bad. That's just so creepy. When asked how they were able to identify the big male Bigfoot, the hunter said it had a big penis and testicles. They looked like a man's, but they were bigger, the father said. When the thing ran or jumped or turned a certain way, you could see them plain, but they were hairy and partly hidden by the hair that covered his whole body. According to the hunters, the two Bigfoot kept circling them, snarling and making terrible sounds. Every couple of seconds, one of them would growl and lunge toward us. We would yell and flop our arms, and it would stop and back up. And I was so scared I dirtied my pants, the father said. The hunters said the standoff probably lasted about 10 minutes. That would have felt like 10 weeks. One of them would lunge at us, and we would yell and jump back or run a few steps, the father said. And at one point, I looked down, saw my shotgun on the ground, and I grabbed it and I fired it into the air. The Bigfoot jumped backward. I shot the gun again. They turned and started to run away, and I kept shooting the gun into the air. We could hear them running away through the brush. They ran away in different directions. Why didn't you shoot them? Well, I wanted to, but they looked too human. Do they have fangs? No, they had teeth like a human, but they were much bigger and they were all yellow. What type of feet and hands do they have? The son said, they look like the hands and the feet of a giant human, except they were hairy on the tops. Their palms and the soles of their feet look like the dark skin of a white man. Their feet broad and about 18 to 20 inches long. What type of noses did they have? And the father said, like a cross between a nose of a man and a nose of a gorilla. You could see the nostrils real plain. When further questioned, the hunter's answers painted a picture that coincides with classic descriptions of what many people claim are Bigfoot. They seem to be describing a huge prehistoric Cro-Magnon man or a huge Homo sapiens Neanderthalensis man whose body is covered with coarse, thick black hair about 1 inch long. I got a question on that one. Was there actually somebody dug up out of the ground which was deemed as Cro-Magnon man and had hair 1 inch long from head to toe? Honest question. Honest question, because I never heard of that in my life. Will you give me one of the strands of hair you claim came from one of the Bigfoot? I want to have it analyzed. The son said, we plan to have them analyzed by a lab in Washington. We want them to study all the hair. We will have them release the report to you. You can have some of the hair after that. The advocate said, did you report this alleged encounter to law enforcement agency or the State Department of National Resources? The father said, no. They would have said we were crazy, or that we were drunk or on dope. And I work for the bank and my son works for an investment firm, and we would probably lose our jobs if our names got out. Hold on, next page. All right, there we go. Sorry. I suspect that this is an elaborate hoax, simply because your story is incredible. I believe you're both lying. Will you submit a polygraph examination? The father said, only if you can guarantee that our identities will never be revealed. The newspaper said, I can only guarantee my conduct. During accomplishment of a polygraph examination, your identities would probably become known by others. I cannot guarantee that they would not reveal your identities. Your desire for anonymity and your having come to a newspaper seem contradictory. Why did you come to the Advocate? The son said, we didn't tell anyone outside of our immediate family. Then we talked about it and decided that we should let the public know about those things. They could attack someone and kill them. We were told that you were a professional journalist and you would keep a promise of anonymity. And then the newspaper said, what do you believe those things are? And the father said, without a doubt, they were two Bigfoot, a male and a female. And I think they heard our turkey calls and came to where we were because they thought they would catch some turkeys to eat. We both had camouflage coveralls on, camouflage gloves and hats on, and camouflage paint on our faces. I don't think the Bigfoot saw us until after it was too late. And after they saw us, maybe they didn't know we were humans. When my son surprised the male, he came after him because he thought he had to protect himself and the female. When the female saw the situation, she joined in to protect her mate. When asked whether they believed the public would consider their story credible, the hunters replied, they better for their own good. We know what happened. Other people can think what they want. We just hope nobody gets hurt by one of those things. The hunters said they never heard of other claims of Bigfoot having been sighted in this region. But about 4 years ago, the Advocate reported the claim of John P. Jack Heinz, a former resident of Cacapon Bridge, now residing in the Baltimore area, who said he saw a Bigfoot on Schaffenacre Mountain, a mountain range northwest and, and parallel to Dillon's Mountain. The two mountains are separated by a small, mostly forested valley, and Heinz's claimed nighttime sighting occurred about 3/4 of a mile northwest from the location where the hunters claimed to have experienced their encounter. The hunters' claimed encounter and Heinz's claimed sighting are similar in that each alleged incident reportedly occurred in the same region, and each happened almost at the edge of the top of the southeast side of a mountain. At the time, Heinz said he saw, with the aid of a floodlight, a strange creature moving in the forest surrounding his home. He said he did not leave his home to investigate because he is basically a coward at heart. According to Heinz, the creature was frightened by the light beam and ran down the southeast side of Schaffenacre toward Dillon's Mountain. He said it did not appear to be a bear, and in his opinion, it was a Bigfoot. His description of the creature seemed to agree with the alleged appearance of a Bigfoot. Heinz is known to be a practical joker. Regarding his claim, the Advocate was and still is skeptical. And following publication of Heinz's claim, the Advocate received a report that a Bigfoot had been sighted several years previously by a man in the Edwards Run public hunting and fishing area. The man did not respond to an interview request. The claimed location of the sighting is about 2 miles north of downtown Cacapon Bridge and in the area of the northeast terminus and Schaffenacre Mountain. During 1940s, some old-timers, now deceased, related their stories claiming they or their parents or their grandparents or their great-grandparents had encountered in the Cacapon Bridge region creatures they called Snagosters. Snollegosters. Snagosters. Reportedly, the encounters had occurred during earlier times at various locations throughout the region. These claims are made many, many years prior to publicly regarding discovery of the alleged abominable snowman or yeti of the Himalayas, and subsequent publicity regarding the so-called Sasquatch or Bigfoot in North America. Surprisingly, earlier descriptions of Snagosters given by the old-timers seem to match much later descriptions of Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Science is yet to confirm the existence of such creatures. Some researchers doubt they exist, while others are unsure. However, several noted scientists have previously announced that their research not only convinced them that the alleged abominable snowman or Yeti of the Himalayas does not exist, but also convinced them that Bigfoot or Sasquatch do roam wilderness areas in America and Canada. There you go. Hold on a minute. My doorman job is calling. 1 second, old timer. Come on in. You looking for Mom again, probably? Huh? And there you go. Well, I doubt the West Virginia Advocate is listening, but nobody needs any validation from you, that's for sure. We got this now. We don't call the people liars anymore, especially after 6 years and over 30,000 emails from around the globe. You guys have missed it altogether. Oh well. That's one of the gifts of the internet, isn't it? Gives us all the voice and all the control. Well, not all the control, but a lot more control than we previously had, right? And there you go. Appreciate sending that newspaper clip in, man. Appreciate it. Now, I think I shared more emails earlier, but that was earlier. So I'm gonna get ripping. And if you hear, or if you can see, that's Sarah's storeroom behind me. See that? All the goodies. It's all her, and she designed it all and hand packs it and ships it to everybody when they order from her. It's what's this? Toque season's coming up. Toque season. She's got a handful of them in that. Those are my favorite ones for hunting. They're right. Where are they? Oh, you can't see. They're right. Those ones and those ones. Those are what she's got left of the toques. I'm sure they're going to go pretty quick here in the next couple months. Those are my favorite lids for hunting. I'm going to steal a couple more. I always steal. Well, I've slowed down on stealing from her store because she stays on top of every single item. And then then after she confirms a sale, because I stole a shirt or stole a hat and I forgot to tell her, and the numbers in the store don't match up with what she's got on the shelf. Whoops, guilty again. Anyway, moving along. I think I might try to have another of the Arizona 4 on here. What time is it? It's 1:30. I don't know if I can pull that off today or not. I still got a lot of work to do out there in the shop. I have to go move all my what I stained before I came in, move it so it can dry a little more, and then I got to put the next load of wood on top of the table, stain it right now. And I don't know where that's going to put me mentally by the end of that, and I got other shit to do. We'll see. I'm babbling. But I will have another of the Arizona 4s coming on here with me either today or tomorrow, I hope. And I might even try the live option. Maybe I might even try that. I'll email him, or I'm sure you're listening to me right now. And maybe we'll try the live version and see if that is any smoother or easier, more simpler, time-saving for me to do it that way. We'll see. And there you go. Sarah, you might want to check your emails. Sarah said she emailed 5 different people and hasn't got a return email from them yet, but no big deal. It can take weeks to get an email reply from me, so I get it. But you might want to check your email. She's emailing people to see if you might want to come on here and speak with me for the people to hear and learn from. So, share my story at howtohunt.com. All right? If you want some of her goodies back there, order it. Right? That's order it. No. howtohuntstore.com? Oh, yeah, whatever. I don't know. See? I suck. I'm not your marketing guru, am I? Anyway, go to our website, howtohunt.com. Everything's right there. What else? Oh, another quick message. Guess what I'm going to do? I've already started on doing. I am... Remember I made my hunting apps? I had the idea of making the hunting apps, 10, 11 years ago, not even knowing what an app was. And the reason I did it was because it was the straw that broke the camel's back. I was in the Yukon with one of the lowest class humans I've ever been in the woods with. turns out to be probably one of the most popular names known in hunting world. And I left there, quit there, thinking to myself, man, how could I share the knowledge with the people without these lying sons of bitches trying to suck every dime out of them and lying to them about everything? And that's how it started. Funny, right? See, it's been a trend my whole lifetime, trying to buck against the bullshit. Anyway, when you make those apps, it costs a shit pile of money. And then you have to have somebody who has the app, who knows how to manipulate them and make them compatible to iTunes and Google Play all the time, because they're changing everything. It makes your apps not work. And then I got to try to track down one of these geeks, and I can't do it myself, which, if you followed me long enough, you realize that I do everything myself. I fix my vehicles. I do everything. I just do everything myself. I can't stop myself. I don't know why. Anyways, it's been a very frustrating time trying to get somebody to maintain them for me full time. And now, imagine how fast technology has advanced in years, right? I mean, it's still out there, but I just found out that you can do an online course. Like iTunes and Google Play takes 30% of anything. Every single thing on iTunes and Google Play, they take 30%. And those apps cost me a pile of money to build. It was quite the experience back then. I gained a lot of knowledge. Anyway, I'm going to I've got the girl I had maintaining my apps these years. She is going to get all of the video tutorials from my apps and put them in a folder for me. I'm going to go through them all and see what needs to be updated and what can be added to. And I am going to create online how to hunt courses for those of you who want to know how to do it for real and save money. And the sweet thing about it is I'm the guy those celebrity douchebags paid for my knowledge to get them successful in front of the camera. I'm the guy, amongst others. And I do not answer to anyone or any brand, so I don't have to lie to you. I get to tell you the truth. Isn't that sweet? And that's what I do. So I'm going to turn all of my hunting knowledge into online courses. And apparently you can still save the knowledge to your device when you go into the woods through that route as well, not only from my old app platform. So that's what I'm doing. Look out. It's coming. It's kind of funny because I make people angry. Everybody that tells the truth makes people angry, right? Especially those guys that have got the spotlight on them for hunting. I don't know how they do it. To be honest, it's amazing to me. A lot of the top names, I should call it top names in marketing. Is it self-marketed? They shouldn't be followed from hunting skills because they pay people to guide them, and they also pay big dollars to go on private property where animals are fed out of pickup trucks, right? What am I babbling about? I'm rambling. Whole nother topic. I save it for my other hunting fishing channel, but yeah, there's a big difference. There's a lot of people that have marketed themselves because they want to be followed by you, and they sell and say anything to get that dollar. Me, anybody who has $1 to give me to sell for them, it's not going to happen. So I get to not peddle you, but I get to share with you, make available to you the honest truth and the honest skills and what it takes and what it doesn't take to get that healthy table fare in the freezer, right? I'm rambling. I should just shut up. There you go. Anyway, that's one of my next items I'm about to go hit. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it again because I get to update all that content. It's older now, but share my story at howtohunt.com. Sorry for the ramble. I'm babbling. Maybe the wood stain fumes got to me. Maybe I'm high and I don't know it or something. Back tomorrow, you guys. Later.